Most people are pretty understanding of the difficulties of childhood, I think. Very few people had idyllic childhoods. Uh, and there's a kind of relief, I think, in reading about or seeing something that has echoes in your own experience. And oh, I wasn't alone in that. And I realized that my kids really didn't know anything about where I came from. And I mean, they met my very sweet mother, and my father was long dead and had met my brother, but the kind of life that they grew up in, my kids, was so very different from what I had grown up in. And I guess for one thing, I wanted them to know me better, and to know that this authority figure in the house actually, had, like them, his own challenges when he was young. So I started to put down some reminiscences of life with my mother when I was young and we were traveling a lot, and really thinking more of those things as being almost for domestic consumption. But then as I was writing on, I just got caught up in telling that history, uh, and gave up that idea of it just being a kind of in-house narrative, and decided that this would be, the kind of book I would have liked to have read when I was young. And that was the kind of book I wanted to write. And that gave me, the energy and the commitment to put things down as they really had happened. I had another stepfather who, was also in his own way a vivid person, but he didn't have any effect on me. This guy had a certain effect on me when I was growing up. He had a quite an effect on my life, and he was in his own way quite a vivid character. I didn't have to invent much to write about him, and uh, he he stayed with me over the years. This guy, you'll remember that Robert De Niro was fresh off here. He was fresh off Cape Fear, and I I sometimes, in watching his portrayal in this boy's life, wonder if he didn't carry a little of that role over. Uh, uh, he did catch. He created a character in his uh, role in this boy's life. Of course, it wasn't my stepfather. I mean, he created a character, and so I didn't have the sense of watching my stepfather while I'm watching that. Uh, but it's a terrific performance. I mean, it's just riveting. I was immensely impressed with that was his first movie too, Leonardo's performance in that movie, and he really did catch something of how I remembered myself at that time. The awkwardness, the kind of uncertainty, uh, in finding your place in life, all those things, uh, and also something of the sense of humor that he brought to the role. No, I very much liked his performance in that. What I found in talking about the book with readers and people asking me about it, such as yourself, is uh, a sense of recognition in them. Not like, oh, how weird this is, or how utterly strange and unimaginable this life is. No, it's like, I had some problems like this myself, and my best friend, or it's so no, I didn't mind. The nervousness I had about it most was in my own children, just my sons at the time. My daughter was born the year it came out. But my sons were, old enough. They were readers, and I thought, you know, I'm the authority figure. Where's my authority going to go after they read this? And in fact, they were very understanding of it themselves, uh, and in a funny way, I think we grew closer because I broke through that shield of being just their father to someone who had a set of experiences that maybe were not entirely unlike some of the things they were going through.